way, that screenshot fits so perfectly over your shoulders.
Oh, well, thank you. I kind of, adjusted it to make it look good. By the way, I'm here to meet, I'm here to meet my attorneys, Moorhead and Benson. This is, this is the right law firm, right?
Company? Yeah.
Oh, did I cause some tension? Should it be Benson and Moorhead? I don't.
No, Benson. Yeah.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today. And just finished Synchronic. Wow, fantastic. And really enjoyed it. The opening scene really sets the tone for the movie, too. It really tells you you're going to in for a wild ride. And also the scene where you have the time traveling paramedics, I had to set that up first, which I think is such a great idea. They're the best of friends. They're going through good times and bad. But that opening scene where they're working together, it seemed like it was all one shot. Did you guys choreograph it like that? That was insane.
Yeah. Yes, it was all one shot. And full respect to our Steadicam operator who was dying, and doing this amazing work for, I believe, 7 or 8 minutes. And one of the reasons that we did that is we had originally planned it to be all broken up into different shots, and it was a very heavily edited scene. And as we were approaching the week to shoot it, we talked to our first assistant director who's in charge of scheduling, and he made a joke. He's saying, man, wouldn't our life be easier if this was just one shot? And for some reason, we just had never thought of it that way. And Justin and I look at each other and smile, and he goes, oh no, because shooting it as one shot is way more complicated. He was making a joke. And we realized that that scene needs to feel more creeping dread, more slow and simmering and unnerving and mysterious, and also to feel like you're more in it, more stream of consciousness. It's happening right in front of you rather than being presented as a movie with a bunch of edits. And we realized all at once that that was the way to present that scene. And we got all of our collaborators together. We were all living in the same house, and we shot the scene because with my iPhone really quick. Just to see if it worked as one shot, because we were all living in a house that had the same floor plan as the place we actually shot it in by coincidence.
Well, this movie is filled not only it's a buddy film, but it's also quantum physics and relativity. It's a science lesson going on here. And B theory, which is the philosophy, I wrote this down, the flow of time is not real, and that past, present, and future all exist side by side. Now, time travel is pretty tricky when you do it in movies and television. You got Star Trek who does it, and even Tenet recently, with Christopher Nolan. But you guys use it in a different kind of way. And what I love about what you do with time travel is that it's not just like traveling somewhere and you're there. I always hear to the philosophy of the time machine, when he's sitting in the time machine and he sees everything changing around him, because time travel changes where you're at. And you guys ran with that. I love that. So if he's sitting on the couch on one spot, he's in the Ice Age. If he's on another, he's in the swamp of the conquistadors. I thought, yes, someone finally got it right, that time doesn't take you somewhere. It only changes what's around you. So I thought that was fascinating. So congratulations, you did that right. It made me very happy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was part of the
long tirade. Sorry, but
no, not at all.
It was part of the fun of basing it in New Orleans was that there's so many places in New Orleans that if you time travel in your own place, in your apartment or your house, you just end up in a swamp, wasting water. And that was a fun sequence to figure out.
There actually used to be a line. There's a point in the movie where he time travels back to, it's still his house, but the wallpaper is different and the lighting's different, and it's basically the 30s. And he looks at himself in the mirror and he realizes that if somebody were to look at him, they'd think he's a ghost. And there was this line that does not play well, but it's in the as dialogue, but it's in the script as just a concept, which is he's a ghost in his own house. And that's a really interesting kind of scary idea, is the fact that all around you, there's actually the ghosts of the things that have happened beforehand. Maybe literally, but we're just talking metaphorically here. But that is really interesting. The place you're standing was actually a swamp at some point,
And one thing I was trying to figure out, that when you took the synchronic pill, you always traveled to the past. Was there any discussions about maybe something would happen in the future, or because it hasn't happened yet, maybe, or?
It's interesting. So with block state universe, at least the way Einstein described it, then you would have just as much probability of ending up in the future as you would the past. I think one influence in the writing of the script was that One was going to the future, where it's like, oh, when you think about what indicates the future, it's like, oh, like robots and stuff. It's really interesting. It's also tonally completely different than the rest of the movie. And then the other thing that this funny thing that kind of influenced it was that it's not that scientific, but it's interesting, is that Michael Crichton, obviously the author of Jurassic Park and many other amazing books, great science fiction writer, he has this book of nonfiction called Travels. And it's just a bunch of short stories about his time after medical school and when his career as a writer really taken off, and he had all this expendable income and no responsibilities. So he just kind of went traveling and had adventures. He went and saw the Highland gorillas. He did all these things. One of the things he did is he went to London, and he went to this place that did relatively credible research into psychic phenomena, researching it. And what he observed was that there were certain people, at least according to Michael Crichton at the time he wrote this, he claimed to observe that they had data showing that people could know things in the past they couldn't otherwise know. Like they could figure there was some accuracy. They usually get like pretty good and then go way off, but no one had any accuracy in the future. Mm-hmm. So that idea kind of influenced the time travel on this.
And actually, there is it's all theory, by the way. None of this is inherently true. This is theory and fun and science fiction. But there is actually an interpretation of block state universe where the past exists and the present exists, but the future is still a possibility. And so that if you ascribe to that, then Synchronic could only possibly take you to the past.
And out of curiosity, was it the Battle of New Orleans or was it a Civil War battle towards the end? Which one was it?
You got it. It was Battle of New Orleans. Yeah.
Awesome. So that's what I thought. And you guys wear all these hats, visual effects, writing, directing. Is it doing it yourself? Do you have this feeling of this satisfaction of creative freedom for your project?
Yeah. I mean, it's not even, I shouldn't say, yes, it is definitely satisfying to have creative freedom, but weirdly, it's just become part of our process. It's not like, oh man, you're taking something away from me by taking over one of the hats that we wear. It's much more that we don't know what we're missing when we don't have it. It's hard to know because somebody else is doing it. They're taking care of it. And very often, we do have an enormous, almost army of extraordinarily talented collaborators that prop us up. But I'll definitely say it's much more process and less to do with freedom,
And in our final moments here, Twitter blew up over me posting that I was talking to you today, and Jamie Dornan. I mean, man, he's got a huge following. And it's also great to see Anthony Mackie in an emotional role too. He's so much more than an Avenger.
I think he's also amazing as an Avenger, to be honest. He's good in everything. That's what's great about Anthony Mackie. He's one of the most versatile performers that we've ever gotten to work with, and he's incredible.
Well, enjoyed it immensely. I can't wait to see what you guys do next. We'll talk again soon. Thank you so much, and congratulations on Synchronic.
Thank you. Thank you for the cool background.
You bet. Come visit us in Las Vegas. We'd love to have you.
Please. Yeah, I'll get on out there.